started with our first news. With UFC 320 just around the corner, anticipation for the co-main event between Corey Sandhagen and reigning bantamweight champion Merab Dvalishvili is reaching fever pitch. Both fighters have been vocal in the build-up, and their recent comments have only added fuel to an already intense rivalry. Corey Sandhagen, widely regarded as one of the most creative and dangerous strikers in the division, recently posted a confident statement on Instagram. In it, he declared that this is his time and that he fully intends to walk away with the bantamweight championship on fight night. For Sandhagen, who has come close to UFC gold in the past but fallen short, this fight represents what could be the most important moment of his career. His message to the champion was clear: expect a different Corey Sandhagen, one who is ready to seize the belt and prove he belongs at the very top. On the other side, Merab Dvalishvili has been just as determined, but what's surprising many is how he has framed his game plan. Known for his relentless wrestling, suffocating pace, and tireless cardio, Merab has made a career out of overwhelming opponents with pressure. Yet in the lead up to this fight, he has repeatedly hinted that he plans to stand and trade with Sandhagen on the feet. At first, fans and analysts dismissed this as mind games, perhaps a way to throw Sandhagen off. After all, why would Merab abandon the very style that turned him into a champion? But things became more intriguing when his longtime coach, Ray Longo, weighed in. According to Longo, Merab has been improving across all aspects of his skill set, not just wrestling. He even suggested that the champion has developed knockout power capable of putting Sandhagen away if the fight stays standing. This revelation has only deepened the mystery of what Merab's actual strategy will be when the cage door closes. The question heading into UFC 320 is now simple but massive: will Merab Dvalishvili come in with his trademark wrestling heavy attack, or will he really commit to a striking showcase against one of the most dangerous strikers in the division? If it's the latter, Sandhagen may find himself facing a completely new version of the champion, one that could be far more dangerous than anyone has seen before. Ray Longo has made it clear that this camp has transformed Merab into a different animal. His confidence suggests that Merab's growth as a fighter is not just hype but a reality Sandhagen will need to prepare for. Still, it would be unwise to overlook Sandhagen's capabilities. His knockout of Frankie Edgar with a flying knee, his spinning kick finish of Marlon Moraes, and his ability to adapt to different opponents have proven that he is one of the most versatile and intelligent fighters in the UFC. Analysts agree that if anyone has the skill set to slow down the relentless freight train that is Merab Dvalishvili, it's Corey Sandhagen. In the end, UFC 320's co-main event is shaping up to be more than just a fight for the belt. It's a clash of wills, styles, and legacies. For Sandhagen, it's the chance to finally capture the gold he has long chased. For Merab, it's an opportunity to silence doubters and show that his evolution as a fighter goes far beyond wrestling. One thing is certain: fans can expect fireworks when these two step into the octagon. Before moving on to the next news, we have a quick request for you. We're always working to improve our content and truly value your support. If you could take a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon, it would mean a lot to us. That way, you'll never miss an update. Move on to another news. Conor McGregor has never been one to shy away from the spotlight or from making bold demands, but his latest revelation has taken the combat sports world by storm. In a recent interview, the former two-division UFC champion claimed he is bypassing the UFC entirely and negotiating directly with former US President Donald Trump for a potential UFC event at the White House. The announcement comes shortly after McGregor raised eyebrows with his stunning price tag for a potential fight at the historic venue: $100 million in fight purse and 100 golden visas. For most, such demands sound like fantasy. Even for McGregor, one of the most marketable stars in the history of combat sports, the number seemed astronomical. UFC has never paid out sums even remotely close to that, and the mention of golden visas only added fuel to the controversy. But according to McGregor, this situation is unlike any other in his storied career. "I'm not negotiating with the UFC on behalf of myself for this fight," McGregor said. "Like usual, I'm negotiating with the United States of America on behalf of Ireland for this fight. So, it's a peculiar one, but Trump and the administration have been fully supportive and backing, and I cannot wait." These words have set off a tidal wave of speculation across both the MMA community and the political world. McGregor has always prided himself on his ability to transcend sports, and this latest move only reinforces his reputation as someone who sees himself not just as an athlete but as a global figure capable of influencing culture, politics, and international relations. For the UFC, McGregor's declaration situation puts them in an unusual position. Traditionally, all negotiations for fight purses, events, and venues go through UFC President Dana White and the organization itself. By claiming to bypass that structure and deal directly with Trump and his administration, McGregor is challenging the norms of how fight promotion works. Some analysts believe this could be nothing more than a clever negotiation tactic, forcing the UFC's hand by raising the stakes publicly. Others believe McGregor truly envisions himself as the kind of once-in-a-lifetime star who can rewrite the rules of combat sports. The mention of golden visas has also stirred controversy. McGregor framed it as a symbolic gesture, a way of representing Ireland on the global stage, but critics question whether such demands are realistic or even feasible within the context of a sporting event. Still, with McGregor, the line between spectacle and reality has always been blurred, and that's part of why fans remain captivated by him. Meanwhile, Donald Trump has reportedly expressed enthusiasm for the idea of hosting a UFC event at the White House, an unprecedented move that would undoubtedly become one of the most talked about spectacles in sports history. Given Trump's long-standing relationship with Dana White and the UFC, the possibility, however far-fetched, cannot be dismissed outright. At the end of the day, McGregor's latest announcement once again proves why he remains one of the most compelling figures in sports. Whether or not the UFC White House event ever materializes, his ability to command headlines and keep fans speculating is unmatched. For McGregor, it's not just about fighting, it's about legacy, influence, and the power to shape conversations that extend far beyond the octagon. Move on to another news. As UFC Rio draws near, former champions Kamaru Usman and Henry Cejudo are already weighing in on one of the card's biggest showdowns, Mateusz Gamrot vs Charles do Bronx Oliveira. On their Pound for Pound podcast, the two MMA greats broke down the stylistic matchup and both agreed that Gamrot has the tools to pull off the victory, if he sticks to his strengths. For Cejudo, a former two-division UFC champion and Olympic gold medalist wrestler, the key to victory is clear. Gamrot must wrestle Oliveira and keep the fight on the ground. Gamrot doesn't need to make this fight exciting, Cejudo explained. Turning it into what people call a boring fight might actually be the smartest path to victory. In his view, Gamrot doesn't have to chase highlight reel knockouts or flashy moments. Instead, a disciplined approach built on takedowns, control, and positional dominance could neutralize Oliveira's dangerous striking game. However, Cejudo also offered a cautionary warning. Fighters who rely too heavily on grinding, wrestling-heavy performances often risk losing favor with fans, and with the UFC itself. If you don't entertain, you risk being cut, Cejudo said bluntly. This sport isn't just about winning, it's about bringing excitement. Just look at how fans react to certain fighters who only wrestle. They say, "Dude, this is boring." That's the trade-off. You might win fights, but you could also lose the fans. Kamaru Usman, the former welterweight champion who built much of his career on dominant wrestling, agreed with Cejudo's breakdown. Usman noted that Oliveira's willingness to fight off his back, a strategy that worked against many opponents, may not serve him well against someone like Gamrot. Charles is comfortable going to his back, Usman said, but that's not always a good thing, especially when you're up against a guy like Gamrot who doesn't mind grappling at all. A lot of people choose to stand with Charles because of how dangerous he is on the ground. Gamrot is different. He'll wrestle, and that's exactly what could give him the edge. Both analysts emphasized that Gamrot doesn't need to be flashy, he just needs to be smart. His wrestling base, while basic in Cejudo's words, may be all he needs against Oliveira if he executes properly. Still, they acknowledged the risk. A wrestling-heavy game plan could alienate fans and slow Gamrot's rise in popularity, especially in a UFC landscape that increasingly rewards exciting performances. Despite the criticisms, both Cejudo and Usman are confident that Gamrot has a legitimate shot at winning. Gamrot's going to have to wrestle if he wants to win this fight, Usman stated. There's no way around it, and if he sticks to that game plan, he can absolutely beat Charles Oliveira. The looming question for UFC Rio is simple yet dramatic. Can Gamrot impose his grinding wrestling style on one of the most dangerous finishers in lightweight history? Or will Oliveira's striking and submission arsenal prove too much to contain? Regardless of how it plays out, the matchup has fans buzzing. With two former champions siding with Gamrot, the pressure is now on the Polish contender to prove them right, and on Oliveira to remind the world why he was once the most feared finisher in the division. Move on to another news. The UFC's highly anticipated return to Madison Square Garden for UFC 322 just got even bigger. Already shaping up to be a stacked card, the promotion has announced another major addition in the lightweight division that is is sure to excite fans. On November 15 in New York City, rising contender Benoit Saint-Denis, BSD, will take on veteran Beneil Dariush in what promises to be a high-stakes battle between two top 15 ranked fighters. The matchup was officially confirmed by Saint-Denis' management team to RMC Sport, and it adds even more firepower to an event that already had plenty of buzz. For Saint-Denis, currently ranked number 13 in the UFC lightweight rankings, this fight represents a golden opportunity to cement his place as one of the division's fastest rising stars. For Dariush, ranked number 9, it's a chance to re-establish himself as a legitimate title contender after recent setbacks. Benoit Saint-Denis' resurgence. Benoit Saint-Denis has been on an impressive comeback run in 2024, after suffering a tough two-fight losing skid, beginning with a shocking knockout defeat to former interim champion Dustin Poirier followed by a doctor's stoppage loss to Renato Moicano. Many wondered how he would bounce back. Instead of folding under pressure, the French fighter came roaring back with two emphatic victories. In May, he submitted Kyle Preplich, showcasing his relentless grappling and finishing ability. Just a few months later in September, he followed that performance up with another submission win, this time against Mauricio Ruffi. These back-to-back finishes not only silenced critics but also reignited his climb up the rankings. Saint-Denis has earned a reputation for his toughness, cardio, and ability to push the pace, and UFC 322 will be his chance to prove he belongs among the division's elite. Beneil Dariush's road back. On the other side of the octagon, Beneil Dariush brings veteran experience and a wealth of high-level competition. Dariush was once on the verge of a title shot after compiling an impressive 8-fight winning streak between late 2018 and 2022. His consistency, strong grappling, and improving striking had many believing he was destined for championship gold. That momentum, however, took a sharp turn in June 2023 when he faced former champion Charles Oliveira in a fight that could have secured him a title opportunity. Oliveira overwhelmed him with a first-round TKO, derailing his championship ambitions. Things went from bad to worse when Dariush suffered a brutal 64-second knockout loss to Arman Tsarukyan, leaving his future uncertain. But Dariush showed resilience, bouncing back in his most recent outing with a solid decision victory over Moicano. That win re-established his footing in the top 10 and set the stage for another high-profile matchup. Facing a surging Saint-Denis, Dariush now has the chance to prove he's still a major threat in the stacked lightweight division. What's at stake? This fight is more than just another matchup, it's a crossroads battle. For Saint-Denis, a victory over a top 10 opponent like Dariush would propel him into serious title contention. For Dariush, defeating a hungry young contender would reaffirm his place among the division's best and keep his championship dreams alive. With the lightweight division already buzzing with names like Islam Makhachev, Charles Oliveira, Arman Tsarukyan, and Dustin Poirier, the winner of this fight could easily be just one step away from the biggest opportunity of their career. The Madison Square Garden stage has hosted countless legendary fights, and this one has all the ingredients to add to that history. Expect a clash of styles, Saint-Denis bringing relentless aggression and grappling pressure, while Dariush counters with veteran composure, striking improvements, and world-class jiu-jitsu. One thing is certain, UFC 322 just got even more unmissable. So, fight fans, who do you think takes this one? Will Saint-Denis continue his rise, or will Dariush remind everyone why he's still among the lightweight elite? Drop your predictions in the comments below. Move on to another news. The combat sports world was left in shock after a chaotic scene unfolded at Spaden Fight Night 2 in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Legendary fighter Vanderlei Silva was hospitalized following a violent post-fight brawl in which he was knocked out cold, not by his opponent, but by his opponent's son. The trouble began moments after Silva's exhibition boxing match against former world champion Acelino Popo Freitas. The bout ended in controversy when Silva was disqualified for landing several illegal blows. The crowd grew restless, and emotions ran high inside the venue. What should have been the conclusion of a spirited exhibition quickly spiraled out of control. According to witnesses, a heated exchange broke out between the two corners. Amid the chaos, a man lunged at Silva and struck him with a powerful punch that rendered him unconscious. That individual was later identified as Rafael Freitas, the son of Acelino Freitas. Fabricio Werdum confirms injuries. Silva's longtime friend and cornerman, former UFC heavyweight champion Fabricio Werdum, released a statement on social media shortly after the incident. He confirmed that Silva had been rushed to the hospital, where he required stitches and underwent further evaluation. Werdum revealed that Silva's nose had been fractured during the assault and that the fighter was was knocked out cold from the blow. Vanderlei had to get stitched up and unfortunately suffered a fractured nose, Artem wrote. The situation was unacceptable. He was attacked after the fight in a manner that put his health at serious risk. 4 hours in the hospital. Doctors kept Silva under observation for nearly 4 hours, running a series of tests to assess the extent of his injuries. Fortunately, after physical examinations and treatment, Silva was later released from the hospital. Shortly after returning home, Silva addressed his fans in a video message posted to social media. Appearing visibly battered, he displayed the cuts and swelling on his face and confirmed that his nose had indeed been broken. He admitted that he was dealing with severe headaches in the aftermath of the brawl, though he reassured supporters that he would recover. "I want to thank everyone who sent messages of support," Silva said. "I suffered a broken nose and I'm in pain, but I will be fine. It's unfortunate what happened, but I will move forward." The fallout. The shocking incident has sparked widespread discussion in the combat sports community about event security and fighter safety. Exhibition matches are meant to showcase the athlete's skills in a less hostile environment, but this altercation has raised questions about whether emotions are being managed properly at such events. For Silva, who has spent decades entertaining fans around the globe, the assault represents one of the ugliest moments in his storied career. Many fans have expressed outrage that a legendary figure of his stature was attacked in such a manner, demanding accountability for Rafael Freitas' actions. While Silva continues to recover, the combat sports world is left to grapple with the disturbing images from Sao Paulo. What was intended as a night of entertainment ended with one of MMA's most iconic veterans lying unconscious from a blow he never saw coming. Move on to another news. Former UFC fighter Artem Lobov has never been one to shy away from confrontation, and even years removed from his UFC days, his rivalry with former lightweight champion Khabib Nurmagomedov still lingers. This week, ahead of his upcoming fight against Zubaira Tukhugov at PFL Dubai on October 3rd, Lobov reignited old tensions by taking direct shots at Khabib in a fiery promo. The 2018 confrontation. The tension between Lobov and Khabib traces back to 2018, just days before Khabib's infamous clash with Conor McGregor at UFC 229. Lobov, a close friend and longtime training partner of McGregor, was cornered in a hotel by Khabib and several of his teammates. The heated moment was caught on camera, showing Khabib pressing Lobov against the wall and exchanging words in Russian. Though the confrontation never escalated into physical violence, it became one of the most memorable side stories leading into McGregor versus Khabib, and it remains a sore spot for Lobov to this day. Lobov's recent statement. In his recent promo, Lobov made it clear that he hasn't forgotten that altercation and feels that Khabib avoided a fair fight back then. "That moment in 2018 has been in my mind all these years," Lobov explained. "Khabib didn't want to fight me one-on-one. He walked away and then came back with his guys. That's not how a real fighter handles himself. That's something I can never respect." Lobov then turned his focus to his upcoming opponent, Zubaira Tukhugov, who also happens to be a close teammate of Khabib's. According to Lobov, he sees many of the same traits in Zubaira as he did in Khabib. "Zubaira doesn't want to face me one-on-one either," Lobov said, "but this time, he has no choice. He's locked in that cage with me, and I can't wait to get my hands on him. I'm not coming here to play games. I'm coming here to put on a real fight." A promise of violence. Lobov's intensity was clear as he promised not only to beat Tukhugov but to do so in emphatic fashion. "I'm looking for a knockout. I'm looking to hurt him. This isn't just about winning on points. This is about making a statement. Zubaira, let's have a real fight. Let's go toe-to-toe and show who the better man is." For Lobov, this fight isn't simply another entry on his professional record, it's personal. By facing Khabib's teammate, he sees an opportunity to settle old scores and symbolically strike back at a chapter of his career that still stings. The stakes at PFL Dubai. While neither fighter is currently in the UFC, their clash at PFL Dubai carries significant intrigue. Lobov's outspoken personality and history with McGregor, combined with Tukhugov's reputation as one of Khabib's loyal teammates, adds extra weight to the bout. Fans are already buzzing about whether Lobov can back up his bold words, or if Tukhugov will silence him on behalf of Khabib's camp. One thing is certain, Artem Lobov is bringing fire and emotion into this matchup, and he's not holding anything back. As fight night draws closer, the world will find out if Lobov can turn his lingering frustration into the career-defining performance he's promising, or if it will backfire against him inside the PFL cage.